Hi, Dustin West here with Red Feather Archery. Getting ready to go shoot this new two-blade prototype head that Stan's got coming out. I'm pretty excited about this head. It's going to be an absolutely devastating two-blade single bevel head. I might be a little biased, but I look very forward to running this through a whitetail this year. This is going to be the hunt and arrow setup I've decided on for the year. I ran it through an arrow shaft selection program to pick the right spine and get the arrow length that I'm going to want to get it to perform optimally to what I planned on. This year I'm going to go ahead and shoot an 80-pound bow, and I decided I want a little bit heavier arrow so that I could shoulder shoot. I'm going to be hunting in one stand where there's going to be a lot of thick bedding area less than 50 yards away. I don't want them getting in there, so I plan on shoulder shooting. Again, with this two-blade head, I don't think I'm going to have an issue. Plus, I shot for a target weight of 550 grains on the arrow, and after running it through on target 2, I came up with the setup that I decided was going to be good for me. It's going to be an Easton Axis 300 shaft with a 75 grain brass insert up front, and then this 125 grain two-blade single bevel head. I don't believe Stan's come up with the name for it yet, so we're just going to leave it as a prototype. And then on the back, I'm going to go ahead and be using a fire nock, lighted nock with 4-inch white arrow wrap, and then some 2-inch Gateway Razor feather vanes. Feathers. They're a 2-inch shield cut profile. I've had really good luck with them in the past. They fly super consistently, and they're nice, quiet. Plus, they're only 1.8 grains each, which add all three of them together, and it's roughly the same as one Blazer, which is nice because it's going to give me a nice weight forward design on this arrow. We'll see if I can't bounce it. As you can see right there, I got pretty much, I think right now I'm sitting at about 16% FOC, so that'll really help stabilize the arrow quick and allow these smaller vanes to do their job without sacrificing accuracy. So in order to do that, I'm going to go ahead and walk you through steps of building a consistent arrow, and we'll see if we can't get consistent broadhead flight for you, as I've been able to experience after building my own arrows. Thanks. So we'll go ahead and show you a few things that I have that are pretty much essential to me building a consistent arrow so that every single arrow flies the exact same every single time. We'll start over here on the left. These are just some arrow wraps, nothing real important. That was the ones I decided to use this year. I find that it's a little easier to clean up your fletching. Afterwards, you can just peel that wrap off, and then your fletchings go with it, and you can start fresh again. It's pretty quick. Right here is just a nock adjuster tool, so you can turn your nocks as you need to. We'll get to that a little later when we go to index these to make sure they're all the exact same. With carbon arrows, there's a little bit of a trick to them, and I'll show you that in a second. This is a chamfering stone for the Axis shafts that I'm going to be using with some 75 grain inserts that I'm going to be putting in. And then here is an arrow squaring device, and then I just have a silver Sharpie to mark the arrows as I need. I prefer to use the Loctite gel. I have some of the regular liquid too, but I find the gel doesn't run on me as much, and it helps to keep the fletchings a little neater. I will say, if you use this regular super glue, go real sparing with it. You want a nice light film over it so that you're not running all over the place and gobbing up your arrows and making them look all messy. I found that to be a real key to doing any arrow job. And then here's just a fletching jig. You can use whatever you have around. I personally prefer, this is a Grayling jig, which is kind of like the Blitz, but it's a whole lot cheaper. And then I've got the fletchings that I'm going to be using this year. I'm using all green or all blue. I haven't quite decided. I guess we'll just kind of see what happens when I go to put them on. Let that be the judge. And then this tool right here is a cheap, inexpensive tool. I'll zoom out a little. That I built to show the consistency of the spine. It consists of just some 2x4s with eye hooks on either end. You can see them there and over here. And all those do is they hold the arrow shaft so that you can see with your machinist dial indicator how much dip your arrow has, so you can tell your spine, just to make sure that you're getting the exact same spine every single time. I built this one for a total of $13, including the 2x4. The machinist dial was $9 at Harbor Freight, and then all this is some all-thread rod with some washers bolted into it. You try to get it 2 pounds exact if you can. And then you want these spaced 28 inches apart. If you have any questions, feel free to ask me. And then this is going to be the shaft I'm using for the year. I went with the Easton Axis STs, nothing special, and then I removed all the labels because I like a cleaner look, I guess you could say. And then they're cut 28 inches carbon to carbon, so just pure carbon shaft length. And then up front I'll put a 75 grain brass insert with a 125 grain broadhead. And then in back I'll be shooting those Gateway Razor feathers with a wrap and then a lighted knock later on. I haven't decided which one I'll use, but it'll probably be the fire knock. So I'll go ahead and get an arrow set up in the spine adjuster to show you how that works, and then we'll go from there. Alright, here's an arrow set up in the spine testing jig that I built. It's nothing special. Again, like I said, it was cheap, but it does do the same thing, and ultimately it will help us find the stiffest spot on the carbon arrow. On any carbon arrow, during the building process, they overlap the layers of carbon, and then so on one side you're always going to have an extra thicker seam or a spline, if you will, and then with that kind of causes the arrow to leave the bow at a different manner each time if it's not spine or not fletched exactly the same. Me personally, I like to find that spot, and then I always like to set my cock vane directly on top of it so that I know each and every arrow will be the same. So we'll go ahead and show you how you do that. Alright, as you can see, that indicator sitting still, and then all I do is I'll just keep spinning it. I'll just give it a little spin at a time, and I'll keep checking it, and I'll take it around 3 or 4 times until I get that needle hitting the highest each and every time, until I find that exact high center spot. This is looking about where it should start happening, and it's real touchy on mine. I could have built it better, but it does the same thing. So I just give it about a 1/16 of a rotation each time, and then I stop, take my hand off it, let the needle fall wherever it goes. It's a little bit time consuming, but I promise you, if you take the time to do this, your arrow will fly better than you've ever had them fly. This is one of those things where you find a really good custom arrow builder, and they always do this. They probably have a heck of a lot better setups though than I do, but the guy that's consistently putting any broadhead on his arrow and shooting it, this is what he does. Or at least in my experience, I haven't found anybody that can shoot arrows that haven't been spine matched as accurately as you can a regular one. And so we'll go again, and it's looking right about in here. Has been about my high spots, so I'm going to go ahead and mark it. There's been a couple inconsistencies where and if it starts kind of, if you want to make sure, you can always just tap the arrow a couple times and let it settle, and then you'll know for sure. But to me, it sure seems like right here's been wanting to be the highest. So we'll go ahead and use that, and then we'll get ready to do the next part.